In today's video, I'm going to be sharing how we made $110,475 yesterday using 3 funnels. And by the end of this video, you are going to know which one of these funnel types to use to scale your business. I'm going to go through what our CMO is calling the value vortex and then break down each one of these funnels, VSL, DTA, and LT. And we are going to talk expectations, consumption versus friction, economics, and blended economics. All right. Last year, we did $30 million in cash collected in this business. Everything on the channel is sharing what did work, what did not work, and what we are actively doing, as you can see, all with the goal of finding top talent, opportunities, and networking with cool people. All I ask is subscribe if you want to see more, comment some feedback and topic requests, and like the ones you like. So let's get into it. So value vortex, I don't know if he came up with this on his own, or I'm just saying he coined it, so this is his phrase. So shout out CMO. He's a rock star. He's taught us so much in a very short time of being here. But the value vortex essentially, which you've seen this if you've seen the other videos on the channel, but this is the funnel structure of what we're currently running. So I'm going to do a quick overview of this. So this is our main VSL funnel. So opt-in page to a VSL, VSL to an application. Application comes through a router based on quality. That'll send them to a booking page or a DQ, basically the same. Then they'll go to thank you page where they then will get on a call and close. Okay. Green one here is new to us. I'm going to break all these down individually and explain how they all talk and what we're testing on each of them and the economics and expectations. But DTA is essentially just running them straight to a page that is headline, VSL application, and then directs them to a call after. So they literally apply on page. There's no opt-in, there's no gated, there's no timer cookie, nothing, okay? And then red right here is going to be our low ticket funnel. And the low ticket funnel is going to a 2-step. So first page, sales page, trying to basically sell them on it. They put in their name and email, go to the next page to check out. So you get that capture information there. They buy. The OTO, we are optimizing for ascension, not AOV. So we are asking them to book a call, which is with a setter. They talk to a setter. Setter puts them on the phone with the closer or a sales team member, and then they close. Okay, those are the 3 funnels. Now, we are calling this the value vortex because basically all these economics blend. So yesterday we did $110,475, Stripe to prove it. 15 of those were high ticket buyers, 54 low ticket buyers. So this value vortex is basically like if I looked at the journey of every single one of these yesterday, and they are touching everything. Everything. They are in low ticket. They're in this. They're talking to a setter. Or they're talking to a closer only. They are booking direct. They're opting in 2 months ago. Like it's everywhere. And that's this vortex. They're seeing us everywhere, hitting these different offers in economic ways. So the blended economics, I'll break down a little bit later, but the 3% ready is basically saying the people who have gone through this main funnel, which is what we did to get 70 million so far, by the way, was all through a high ticket or an opt-in VSL funnel. So 3% ready is saying that only 3% of those are ready to buy or are in basically the frame of could purchase. And for us, it's actually 1%. So we sell 1% of the leads on average that come through here. So we are leaving an immense amount on the table. Okay. So the lead to close on this style of funnel for the VSL, I'm going to go through them each individual on these, but the lead to close on our main is like 20 plus days. Okay. Consumption versus friction. I'm going to break that down between each one of these, but it is huge. There's such a big difference between consumption and friction on all 3 of these individually, but when they work together, the blended economics are like insanely good. Okay. So let's get into the VSL funnel first. Yesterday, the VSL funnel, which is our opt, VSL, app. Actually, here, I'll break it down here. Opt, app, booking, talk to a closer, close. Yesterday, that accounted for 11 of the units, okay? So right now, what we're doing with this funnel is same as before, but we are testing 2 different opt-in pages that go to 2 different VSLs. So not uniquely where like opt-in 1 gets VSL 1. It is going 2 different opt-in pages that are the same like messaging or language framing, but different design actually is a big difference on them. And then 2 different VSLs that are completely 2 different. Now, this morning, I made this early this morning at like 4 a.m. and then didn't have time to film this, but this is actually off now because we ran this for the last 3 months and variation 2 was generating less calls and slightly less purchases, which technically means it has a higher sales per booking. But if you just go based on overall sales, which we track in VWO, I have a completely different video for that. Because if you just looked at the app or the booking, it would show that this won, but this did not win on units over an extended amount of time, like high tens of units, sub 100, but high tens of units. And the longer one we ran was like 300 and something. So this is the test we're currently running. Now, when we start to talk lead to close and consumption versus friction on this, the friction is high. right? So they have to land here to opt in. So you're going to get, call it 20% of people, 30% of people to opt in. Then how many are going to actually, right, are going to make it to this page? How many are going to apply? You're going to assume 20 to 30% are going to apply. Of the people that apply, 50% are going to book. Of the people that book, 20% or 50% are going to show up on the call. Then of the live calls, 20 is going to close. So that's how you get to like your 1% number. So 100% are opted in, 1% of them purchase. The amount of time, the amount of emails, when they land on a VSL page, they can't instantly apply. Like there's so much forced friction or forced consumption through friction that makes it so they do get on a call more qualified, but your economics can get crazy if you don't have like every step pretty dialed in throughout the funnel. Okay. So it's kind of like you are restricting the funnel for quality. And even then, it still like cannot work. Like if you have crazy messaging or if you have misalignment or non-continuity throughout this, like it can break very easily. This is still a very simple funnel, and I do not mean to say it's not. We did 70 million through this funnel, so clearly we like it. But we also just like we're kind of dumb and didn't do these other ones. So DTA funnel, we're gonna come back to low ticket funnel. This one is crushing for us. Okay, so we should have done this a long time ago. But so for the low ticket, we are currently running 3 different variations on the front. So 3 different page designs. Essentially, we have like a control was the original one that I actually built, which is hilarious, or like designed and wrote and stuff. And then our copywriter came in and changed some copy, not to take credit. 2 and 3 were like complete ground up, beautiful designs. One is dark, one is light. So basically it's just a design difference, but like vastly different from the first one. All of them are headline, VSL, crazy copy, like the beautiful pages you see. This is like ugly as can be, but headline, VSL, bunch of copy, 2-step. These checkouts, just clean versions of checkouts. These just clean versions of bookings, but all of them are in alignment. So these do not split between these. These split one way. So it is a one directional. Now, this one is by, let me think, this one or this one? Yeah, this one. This one is like dominating. So it's winning by a long shot. So this will be crowned to win, which will give the entire thing 20, 30, 50% increase. The the purchase to booking rate is insanity right now. It's like 75% of people that purchase. So if you get 100 buyers in a day, which we got 54, but of those 54, we're getting like 30 or 40 of them to book an implementation call or whatever, a framework call, whatever you want to call it, like your starter call with a setter. And it's like 75% of them are booking with a setter. Then from a setter, they go to a closer, and that's a X whatever percent set rate. Call it 30, call it 50, whatever. I don't have an exact number off the top. I can do another video on the data of this a little bit deeper, and then talking to a closer. Now, the show rates for the set to close, so the ones that a setter talked to on their call, then they booked in there, is like 75% now. When I made another video, it was like 72%. It's like 75%. And the live call close is like 16 or 17 and the inching towards 20. Like the prior days are going like this, and the earlier days are the lowering the average. So this is crushing. Okay. So up here, what did I say? 3 of these units came in from yesterday. 2 of them came through implementation. So what that means is that 3 of these units started here. They came into our value vortex or our ecosystem, our sphere of whatever that they came into. They sourced from here. Okay, so they saw an ad, they bought this. 2 of them were imps, which I would just mean is like these setter calls. We're calling them implementation calls. So 2 of them booked in here, talked to a setter, then got set with a closer, and then bought. 1 of them never booked that call, bought this a month ago, and then was inside the product, and inside the product portal has a CTA in there and or saw ads. I could look at it a little deeper and actually give you an example. So they either saw the portal or they saw an ad in there and then booked a call through that. So this is just going back to like the blended economics of this. The time to on this on average, those setter ones are 2 days because they're coming in, they're setting, then they're getting with the closer. Setters are trying to put it on the closer's calendar for same day, if not next day, if not next day. They get to go out 3 days. Our main booking widget only goes out 2 days or 48 hours or 48 hours or 72 hours, right? So this is crushing, but it has a lower time to close than something like this, which is very interesting. Now, we've also been running this way, way shorter amount of time. So I could not tell you. The average might skew out, which is good. Because right now we're hitting our ascension numbers on prior 30, but like over 90, over 180. Like we have no idea how many people that are inside this of the 100 that buy, call it 4 that are buying the backend program. That could go up to 8 from that same period of buyers. But like we don't know because now they're in the value vortex. They're in our ecosystem and we got paid to do it, or we paid less to do it than we did in this model. Okay. So the economics are vastly different. Right here, we make no money. Right here, we do make money. Now, DTA. I'm praying that this is ours. This is the one. So DTA, this is what everybody runs. And for whatever reason, we just had this ego or like viewpoint on consumption and friction. And if they come through here, they're warmer and like all this kind of stuff. And honestly, it's already proven to be true, but that does not mean that we're not going to make it work. So what a DTA funnel is: headline, VSL, application, where generally speaking, the button is right there for them to click, open a pop-up, and apply. Okay. There are people who remove the button until the CTA hits in the VSL. That would add more friction, right? Because somebody would land on it, they're in the car or whatever, they're doing something, and they would have to watch the video through before they would even be allowed to apply, right? So you're adding friction, which you would assume means that they've consumed the VSL longer and they have more consumption, more context. You would assume that. Not necessarily always true, but that's what that is, okay? So they're going to go watch VSL, headline. So right now, we are testing this. We are testing 3 of these, okay? All with the same headline, 3 different VSLs, everything else on page is the same. Same thing, different application technically, but like framed in a better way for DTA. That is then routing them through and coming, so I actually messed this up a little bit because it's really like this. They are still going into a router and going to DQ versus quality based on a financial qualifier and routing through here, okay? Yesterday, app to booking to closer call to client, we had 2 of the units here. Okay, so in total yesterday, did I say 15 or 16? 15. Is this 15 or 16? 16. That means this was 10 because I did math backwards. I pulled these 2 because I knew they were lower. My bad. 10 units, 2 units, 3 units. But yeah, so the DTA for us, the idea here, we've had so many of these calls already come through though. Like 80 plus of these calls, and we have closed 3 in total. 2 yesterday, 1 the day prior, but it's brand new. And then also during that time, we broke our automations, we broke our Zoom, and it was ramping for the first time, and everything was breaking. So it's like, can you use the early data? Unlikely. Now, here are the 3. So you've got your VSL, you've got your DTA. I'm a huge believer in this. I think that we should have been doing this longer. If you can crack it, the economics on this are insanity. Because you are getting them straight through here. Like our cost per booking on this is, I don't even want to say how low it is. Like it is crushing. But their level of consumption is lower. Their buy-in is lower. They have not gone through an opt-in, been forced to watch a VSL, get emails from you, then do this, then do this, then do this. Like they just, you're going to assume it is less quality. Assume that it's less and that they don't know who you are and that they're not going to pay 10 grand or 5 grand or whatever over the phone as easily. Now, there's a million things that happen here with emails and ads and stuff that you can do to like warm them up pre-call. And the first time you collect information from them on this is an application, not a booking page. Or I'm sorry, application, not a lead. So up here, I get to email this person 50 times before they get to apply. They get to go on our website. They get to like click around. Are they ready yet? And when they're ready, they apply. Here, it's like if you don't apply, you'll lose them. And there are tools. I'm going on a tangent here, but there are tools that you can use that capture the email that'll then you can use for email marketing, but it's kind of like gray area. And we've used it before and it like didn't back out for us. It did on open rates, but not on close rates. And sorry, tangent over. But so now how all these are working together. DTA and this are running main and load. Okay. So all 3 of these are running their own traffic. That's what these boxes are. Then they're all coming together and technically speaking, using the same booking page and the same success page. These we just swapped out for beautiful design and got a 10% lift across those just by making them cleaner because I built them / CEO built them and they were ugly and we were just moving things over and it worked for 70 million, but we want to be branded and conversion optimized now. So these are now rebuilt and are performing better. Sales team is on one right now and setters claimed something like 200 and whatever bookings over the last 7 days, which before was 0 because we did not have a setter team. So all of those working together came out to 15 units yesterday there, 54 on low ticket. Now, final piece of this, Lead to close. I cannot accurately give you lead to close on these two until it extends. I can definitely give it to you on this because I ran it for 4 or 5 years. And it has changed slightly as we've added things. And, now that setters are in there, it is actually decreasing a little bit because they talk to a human instead of just how many emails, how many clicks, how many whatever. This one is very interesting. And this one is like the most interesting. This one could just come out of left field and completely break the economics. I would recommend somebody who is starting. This is going to be easier to build. I don't want to say harder to nail. It's almost like it has like a bigger room for error. Like the cost per call is so low. The friction to allow somebody to apply for you, to work with you or for your program or for your whatever is low. So using this, I would say is probably the best bet. And then you can determine from there, what do you need to add for pre-objections? What do you need to you can determine from there. This, I personally think this is harder to run. A low ticket, I see people talk all the time about how it has the economics work better, just drop the price like crazy, just see what the different messaging is and match it. But to build a full sales page and a full checkout flow and a product on the back end and all this other stuff and deliverables and all of that to test something and to try and figure out what the messaging is or what it I just don't think that this is necessarily the easiest way in comparison to this. This, which is also why I say that I think people should be doing sales calls or higher ticket. If you're talking about low ticket and all this other stuff, I only know what I know. This is completely my opinion and does not matter to anyone. So with a grain of salt. But I think this is much easier because you get to talk to the person. You get to understand who the people are that your messaging is attracting. Is that the right messaging? And then is that in alignment with what the product or the problem you are solving and what your service or product is, right? This one I think is the biggest for feedback loop. So earliest. I think this one is best for scaling once you have all the other pieces in place because of the economics. And I think this is just tried and true. If you nail this, you nail, it rocks because you can clean up and you have way more emails. You have way more assets that you're collecting throughout it versus this. And then this is just harder you just have to do so much volume depending on your ascension rates, but you have to do so much volume to make it meaningful in the back. If I was selling 100 of these a day, you would assume you're getting 4 that are backing out and not even on same day, into the future. And that's the thing I'm saying about the time to close is unknown yet. But call it a week or 2 weeks. You're selling 100 of them a day. You're liquidating however much you can. If you can do, I've heard of guys in the internet marketing space that are liquidating 2 and 3x on this. So they're making 2 to 3 times ROAS on the front end before it even gets on the phone with the setter closer and then buys a high ticket. So all the power to you. But if you're losing money on this, how hard do you want to scale it knowing that if you're selling 100 a day, you're only going to get 4 that back out and you don't know when. So it's you're kind of bleeding. There's a trough is what I'm basically saying. There's a cash trough where people are in no man's land, but you have setters that you're paying for. You have closers that are commission only, but still they need volume. So you have to ramp it up. So you have to have spend. And it's just I think this one works best for economics. I think this one works best for testing, iterating, talking to people and getting a gauge of things. And I think this is just tried and true. Still what we will run. You just really have to nail the messaging. And I think we may have overused ours or spent into it too much to the point where really it's just kind of getting lasting effects. Cause if I look at these people who came in, there's a chunk of them that were 30 dayers or more than 30 dayers. There was a chunk of them that were 2 dayers. It's crazy on the time to lead. It's just time to close from lead to close. So I hope that was helpful. I like this one. And this is what all the guys talk about. Jeremy Haynes has a ton of videos. This is basically the main funnel they run. He does talk about all these other ones, obviously, they run everything, but this is a very common one. And yeah, so that's that. Yesterday, 15, day before, 54 low ticket. We're scaling that back up again. I hit 2,500 subs. I am back in the cave. So bought a new laptop. Says it's going to take forever to get here because I customized the shit out of it. And www.ryanclogg.com/doc. Use the www because I broke some on ClickFunnels and I don't care and I don't want to fix it. And you will get all of the videos and what their main idea is. And then the different categories. Everything I talk about is marketing, tech, ops, sales. And I've been doing them every day for 41 days. All right. Comment, subscribe, like this if you got any value. Give me some feedback. I appreciate you guys and talk soon.